Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode in the start of Season 3 and the final season of our F122 Driver Career Mode. You see the reveal of the brand new McLaren Chevrolet partnership here, kicking off this third and final season. A lot of new things, of course, this season. We got some driver moves with Yuki Tsunoda replacing Lance Stroll at Aston Martin. Stroll goes to Tsunoda's spot at AlphaTauri, and Oscar Piastri has officially signed with McLaren to replace the retiring Daniel Ricciardo. We got, of course, a new team on the grid with the Audi team, which we're going to reveal in just a second, but the McLaren Chevrolet partnership fresh off of a strong Season 2 for McLaren, but just not enough to go the full length, of course, to fight for the championship, and it's only a 10-race season because of F123 being right around the corner. Here's a look at the paint schemer livery here for the Audi Sport F1 team, looking absolutely flawless. Now, link will be down in the description for all of my mods. Other than that, not really any new livery changes here as we were touching down and landing in the Jeddah area as well. A brief media question about being teammates now with Oscar Piastri.
David Croft with Sky Sports. Gary, what is the vibe with Oscar on the team? Do you have to teach him anything, or has he gotten on pretty well so far?
Yeah, no, he's gotten really well adapted to the car already. Honestly, I think he's going to be a threat this weekend to myself and everybody else. We have great cars, so I haven't had to teach him anything so far. You hear our brief media actually talking with Mr. David Croft there now as we get practice underway here on a Friday afternoon in this brand new McLaren Chevrolet partnership. Now, we come into the season, there's not really any changes. I didn't focus on the R&D there because there's practically not many changes at all. However, McLaren is at the top of the board by a little bit over Red Bull. So we are going to have a legitimate shot, I think, to win this championship as long as I'm not hitting walls like that in the Grand Prix, of course. So I think we're going to have a chance to win this Grand Prix here to kick off the season, and if we can keep up with the upgrades as the season progresses, which is only 10 Grand Prix, we'll have a legitimate shot to win the title here now as we are at the top of the board in free practice 1, and our teammate of Oscar Piastri, the rookie, not far behind. Oscar, of course, has completed 1 Grand Prix in Formula 1 so far. He did replace Ricciardo last season for the Hungarian Grand Prix when Ricciardo got that 1-race ban following that accident in Austria the Grand Prix before. Here we are, though, Saturday evening, ready for some qualifying now, walking to our car with our brand new McLaren Chevrolet colors there, and ready to get some laps under our belt. Now, this car shouldn't have any problem making it through into Q2 just with 1 lap. Actually hit the wall again in Q1 right there. That's the second time we've done that on that same wall, same spot this episode. But we go P4. I did make another lap and we went P12 overall, so I was pretty happy with that. Tsunoda in his first Grand Prix weekend with Aston Martin out. It's a bit surprising to see that Lawrence Stroll swapped his son with Yuki Tsunoda, and as well both of the Audis unfortunately out here in Q1. So a brand new season and a brand new team entering the sport, taking over Alfa Romeo. Was that Audi team, but not a good start for them. Now, keep in mind, Williams Porsche, they started out really slow when they came into Formula 1 last season, and they really picked it up mid to late season. Now, this time out, they have less than half the amount of races than we had last season there because of F123 being right around the corner. So 10-race season, it is what it is, but we're going to have fun now. You see P7 on my first lap in Q2, so I would put myself in a position where I felt like I had to make a second lap here late in Q2, so I would do exactly that. And we would find a good chunk of time, 0.3 of a second, 0.4, now half a second just about here as we were coming up on the final corner, a little bit over half a second better, and that actually puts us all the way up into second place in Q2. So we cruise into Q3, and one of the big things we've had to work on there is to see Albon, Norris, Gasly, Alonso, and Magnussen all out, but one of the big things that we've had to work on coming into this season was our qualifying pace. And it seems like so far, knock on wood, but it does seem like we have found it now. Q3, though, underway, and now we have hopefully got a car that's going to be capable of a top 3 qualifying effort. But as I exit the sweeping left-hander, get into the outside wall, and do damage to the front wing, so we have to come back in and replace that, which puts me in a one-and-done scenario here. I was on a used set of sauce for that lap, so I put on a fresh scent. And now it's a minute left, and we have 1 lap to make something happen here. What is it going to be? Our teammate of Oscar Piastri, he was currently up towards the top of the board now. Everybody coming through on their final attempt, of course, now. And Sector 1 was relatively competitive right here, struggling at the very end right there of the S's section. But we come through the sweeping left-hander this time, do not get into the outside wall. Fortunately, only a green Sector 1, so not the fastest of anybody now as we come through right against the barrier right there. A little bit aggressive on the track limits, but we do get away with it. Our DRS actually gets stuck open about halfway through the lap. So that is going to be an interesting assistance right here, because this part of the track is DRS heavy, so it's not going to present as much of an advantage as it would anywhere else. But nonetheless, we still will maybe get a couple tenths of a second advantage, hopefully now, down the front straightaway. What is it going to be? To the line, we're going to cross it, and it's not quite enough for pole. It's P2, because our teammate, the rookie of Oscar Piastri, in his debut as a full-time F1 driver, is on pole by 2.5 tenths of a second over myself, Perez, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Schumacher, Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, the top 10. So McLaren Chevrolet in the debut of this new partnership lock out the front row. Let's get ready to go racing.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Golden Boy completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Sainz, Mick Schumacher, Hamilton and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly and Norris, Albon, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou, Latifi and Robert Schwartzman. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as once again we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Ready to go racing here from that front row. You saw the starting grid, medium to hard compound tires, pretty straightforward, and I'm ready to go racing to kick off this third and final season of this F122 driver career mode.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm. That may or may not play into some of the team's hands in today's race. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, and which ones have got it horribly wrong?
All right, mate, new season time. Looks like you learned how to qualify over the off-season. Hope you still know how to race.
Yes, sir, I think I know how to do both of those now, so everybody have fun tonight, and let's see what happens. You hear myself on the radio to the team. We are ready to get racing here from Jeddah. Now it's a McLaren Chevrolet front row lockout. A lot of teams are close in the R&D with Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, even us, even though we're at the top of the board. So that's going to create a lot of diversity in some of these grid starts for the rest of this season, I think. But nonetheless, we're ready to go racing. Season 3, this final season, is underway, and it's a bit of a slow start for myself. Piastri, great launch off the grid, but I'm already taking 3 wide with Perez and Russell sending one up my inside into turn 1. I get compromised, but actually it doesn't end too bad because I'm actually able to get back out in front of Russell, so we at least stay in the top 3 behind Sergio Perez. Russell could be under attack from Max Verstappen. You got the 2 Ferraris side by side, Leclerc as well as Carlos Sainz. Leclerc, of course, the season 1 champion, trying to make a late season charge last season to take down Max Verstappen, but it wasn't enough. Max Verstappen became a 2-time world champion at the end of season 2 there in Abu Dhabi, which Abu Dhabi, heartbreaking for Leclerc. Just nothing went his way now. As you can see, Verstappen, the defending world drivers champion, number 1 back on his car. They're putting some pressure already on George Russell. I myself settling in at the back of the grid. You got the Audi Sport F1 drivers now, and you can see one of the AlphaTauris, and then you got Nicholas Latifi there in the Williams Porsche at the back as well. well now as Esteban Ocon right now at the back part of the top 10. He's had a way better qualifying effort than his teammate Fernando Alonso. However, Alonso just behind him right now as we close in towards the end of this first and opening lap. Lewis Hamilton looking for a way better season this time around. Can he actually do that now? It was getting interesting up here for now the 4th position. That's Verstappen trying to go around the outside of George Russell. A little bit of contact right there on the side pod of the Mercedes, but Verstappen is going to pull out in front, so he is going to move through into 4th place. But I don't know if this battle is over because, yeah, George Russell is going to fight back up the inside here down towards turn 1, and this is what we love to see up ahead. And Verstappen locks up into turn 1. He's going to lose 1, 2, potentially 3. Yes, he will, I think, lose 3 spots there as he's going to be side by side with Leclerc. These two have gone at it back and forth for the last 2 seasons for the championship now, and now they're on track going at it here just inside the top 10. Hamilton right behind this with a great view, but Verstappen would get the position over Charles Leclerc for the time being. Now myself settling into P3 and just getting into a rhythm, getting these medium compound tires warmed up, and now I was starting to close in on Sergio Perez here, and you're going to see by the end of lap 2 that we clearly today in Jeddah have more pace than that Red Bull now, and the strong suit of this car, at least to start the season, is this right here. Straight line speed. Down this run straightaway, not even a contest. We're going to be able to pass through the Red Bull of Sergio Perez now, but we were, all 3 of us, over 2 seconds ahead of 4th on back because Russell, Sainz, Leclerc, Verstappen, they were all battling so much that they had lost a bunch of time now. So myself now trying to run down my teammate of Oscar Piastri in his first debut in Formula 1 in Hungary last season. He was able to dominate me on pace, so I was hoping today that would not be the same, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't, and we were setting the fastest time for the Grand Prix and closing in on him. Now you can see just under a second between himself and I, so now we're getting within that DRS range. It's right on the cusp of it. Actually, I didn't quite have it yet, so we were kind of flirting with DRS now, and you can see though by the time we come through to lap 5 we had gotten into that DRS and had used it to close right up to the back of Oscar now, and I think honestly with the DRS assistance we might have a chance to make this overtake right here down the front straightaway. Look at the closing rate. It is insane how quick this car is, and he is actually in overtake mode, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to blow by our teammate of Oscar Piastri. To the lead we go.
Nice overtake there. Focus on maintaining the lead.
You hear Mark briefly on the radio now, so settling into P1 here. What a debut for this McLaren Chevrolet partnership. Now Chevrolet comes into F1, and they might win right off the bat here now. But you can see Piastri, he would still be able to remain within my DRS now as the battles continue in the background. It's a 3-way battle right here. We got Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen. Oh, scrapping it out, Sainz, and he goes wide in turn 1 like Verstappen did earlier, so he loses out. But the battles continue. Look at this, a lap later, lap 8, and now Leclerc's lunging one up the inside, and this basically 4th on back through about 8th place. They were battling it out very, very hard for a stretch of laps, and we're going to stay tuned on this because there was some epic battles here. But look at now, you can see Russell driving away from these guys because they're going at it so hard, but then Verstappen, after getting overtaken by Leclerc, he wasn't done at the end of lap 8. He's going to fight back around the outside. Leclerc sticks it back up the inside. A little bit of contact right there with Verstappen. These two going at it physically at this point now, but now you can see in the background, watch out for Carlos Sainz. He's going to have the DRS, and he's got a heck of a slipstream. Will he make a move down towards turn 1? I think yes he will. 3 wide. He's going to try and take it into the first turn. Hamilton's licking his chops at this point, loving what he sees, and you can see Verstappen's going to potentially get the short end of the stick. Yes he will. Down to 7th place it goes. Hamilton is maybe sizing up a move. You don't want to make a move into that corner. What in the world was that line that Hamilton was trying to take? And you can see it didn't do him any favors. Now lap 9, focus back in on myself briefly, and we are 0.6 of a second currently ahead of Oscar Piastri, and we were loving this. We were both driving away from Perez, who was now 3.5 seconds back, and we were long gone up the road from 4th place on back, which was now 10 seconds back, all because of all that battling that they have been doing, and of course it helps that our car today is quicker. Here the battles continue. Verstappen now going for an overtake on Sainz, his second lockup in the last few laps. Sainz definitely flat spotting a tire, you would think, at this point, so he's going to have to, I reckon, come in maybe even a lap or so earlier for a fresh set of hards, but we'll see what he does. As I do catch the wall just a tad bit right there. That was the same spot we did, I think, earlier in the weekend And now Hamilton, now you can see going for an overtake on Carlos Sainz, who appears to be struggling now after 2 lockups. And you can see in the background Esteban Ocon maybe sizing up an opportunity here, as you can still see side by side. Sainz backs out of it out of the final turn, didn't quite have the grip, and that allows Ocon to close right in on the back of both of these guys. And he's going to have that DRS, and he might go for an overtake on Hamilton too. Are we going to see 3 wide into turn 1? No, Hamilton's just so slow right there at the end of the straightaway that they're both able to really compromise him down into turn 1. And Sainz is going to go around the outside, but Hamilton not going to back out easy, and actually maybe has a bit more straight line speed than the Ferrari after all, as he can comes through to stay ahead and holds on to P8. Sainz down to now P9, as we were getting ready, of course, to come into the pit lane here momentarily. The pit window was about to open, but you can see myself, Piastri, still pulling away. But yeah, Piastri is still within the DRS of myself here, which I could not really shake him out of it. I was trying to push a little bit harder, use a little bit extra battery here and there. It wasn't working. Piastri is just able to stay in that DRS. Leclerc moves up to 4th. We are seeing a lot of lockups here now, as both him and Verstappen ran down George Russell, and that puts George down to P6 now. A lot of battles there from 4th on down tonight. It was absolutely spectacular, and I wanted you guys to be able to see it all happening, because if you were just focusing on me, it wouldn't be very eventful of an episode so far now. But we come in, we're going to box for a fresh set of hard compound tires, and now, of course, this first exiting lap here is crucial to get these tires warmed up, and hopefully when Piastri exits his pit box, we can be coming out ahead of him and not have to worry about overtaking. And of course, he's just a bit of a slide to the fronts there, as that was not what you want to do, but we're fine. Exiting still in P4, which is great. Piastri comes in at the end of lap 13, starting lap 14 here, so we had 1 lap to make things happen. A great pit stop there for our teammate, but we had a great pit stop as well, and we're going to see who's going to come out on top of this battle right here. Down this front straightaway, Piastri exiting now down towards turn 1. It's going to be close, and I think it's going to be us. Yes, it is. We're side by side, and we are able to exit out ahead of our Australian teammate. You know, we get rid of one Australian, we bring in another Australian there, as Ricardo, of course, retiring at the end of last season. 2 wins he had in his final season of Formula 1 in this F122 career mode, but now using this lap as a chance to hopefully use my hards that are warmed up compared to Oscar's to open up the gap here, and maybe get him out of the DRS range, because as long as he's in the DRS, we are not safe at all. But through the grid we go. Perez, Verstappen, Leclerc, the top 5 as well behind myself and Piastri. Russell, Ocon up to 7th place. Hamilton again. Oh, this is not good. Hamilton maybe picking up right where he left off last season, where there is just struggles there, but at the end of the day, he's only a couple spots behind his teammate. And Carlos Sainz, he's the one that's really struggling though. P11 currently for Ferrari, as his teammate of Leclerc all the way up in 5th place. There's Albon there. In 15th, you got the Audi of Zhou Guanyu and his teammate of Schwartzman. So Audi Sport F1 in their debut, not looking so hot. 17th and 18th, as Norris down in 19th, a terrible day, and same for Latifi, who's way off the pace right now as we come through on this 14th lap. Of purple, sector 1 as well. Not going to complain about that.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Now that's something I will complain about. We are 1 second ahead. 1.1 going into the final turn of our teammate of Piastri, maybe coming through to set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, which is already held by us, but now our race might be coming to an end. The first race with this McLaren Chevrolet partnership, we've been setting a blistering pace. We've been in control for about 10 laps at this point over our teammate of Piastri. It's a McLaren 1-2 given, unless something goes wrong, like, well, this right here. The engine's gone. It's over. Day over. Night over here in Season 3, Episode 1 to kick off the season with this McLaren Chevrolet partnership. We're going to be out after being in control of this race for the last 10 or so laps, and we were looking so good going into the final 10 laps now, and unfortunately our day is over. We just got robbed of potential victory. However, Oscar Piastri, the rookie, is going to win his first Grand Prix in Formula 1. He would go on to hang on, no safety car from my mechanical failure, which of course helped him as well, and he's going to be joined on the podium by Sergio Perez as well as Max Verstappen. But Oscar Piastri is going to reap the reward of my misfortune and go to the top step of the podium here in Jeddah. So it sucks to start the season like that, obviously, when it was looking so good. That's the first mechanical failure we've had in, what, half a season or so? We only had, I think, 2 mechanical failures last season, if I remember correctly. Maybe 3, but I'm pretty sure it was 2. And we've started off the season with 1 this time. So quite a bit frustrating, as you could imagine, because when it's only a 10-race season, one mechanical failure is going to make a really big difference. And on top of that, of course, it's a lot more frustrating when you have that mechanical failure after dominating the last bit of this Grand Prix that we were still racing in. So it is what it is, obviously, and now we have to focus in on the second Grand Prix of this season. But yeah, frustrating still at the end of the day. But Piastri, cool to see him get his first win in Formula 1. We weren't the only one that ended up retiring. There was another retirement, which we'll take a look at now. You see the finishing order there. Hamilton actually up in P6 at the end of things, but Schwartzman, so the Audi Sport F1 team with the retirement. Interesting enough, the two new partnerships here, Audi Sport coming in and then McLaren Chevrolet, both of the kind of new partnerships or new teams in general are the ones that see the issues here today. Piastri at the top of the board. In the standings, of course, we're at the bottom instead of what was looking like to be the top. Constructors, of course, we need to take a look at here because thankfully Piastri winning keeps us in the fight there, 8 points back of Red Bull. But that's going to wrap it up for Season 3, Episode 1 of 10 here in this F1 22 driver career mode before F1 23, which is not far away, less than 20 days. So you're going to see quite a few episodes. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.